I felt that I deserved the pain that I was giving myself.
You go from being angry to being sad to having blame on yourself to being angry again. It's like a roller coaster.
Her last words to anyone on this earth were, "I'm effing terrified."
Now I would feel very nauseous. I would just panic, oh, I don't want to go to school.
I felt like I had this crushing weight on me 24 hours a day. The only thing that helped was if I would be asleep.
I didn't even think I was gonna make it to my graduation date.
When talking about teens in crisis, there is a lot to talk about. There's ways that we can help teens, and there is a whole community ready to offer this help.
I am here today to just help educate as much as possible, especially from a younger standpoint. There's nothing quite like direct experience that younger people have.
Sharing my story could give someone a solution to their problem.
I'm here today to inform adults about really what teens go through and what they feel like they have to hide from others in order to get through it by themselves, when in reality there's so many resources.
Youth experiencing mental health disorders is on the rise. The U.S. Surgeon General has described declining mental health in youth as the crisis of our times.
My brother died by suicide when he was 13. He was the best. He was a Boy Scout. He was a drummer for our school. He was my catcher. I'm a pitcher. We had the same friends. Everybody knew us as the twins. Was always happy, never seemed to show any signs of being sad or depressed. On a site on his phone, he was confiding in strangers that were going through depression, and he was almost trying to help them. I feel like he was doing that because he was feeling the same way that they did, which that's the part that me and my family don't understand, is why he confided in strangers and not his own family.
First time that I had actually attempted to take my life, I had done it, and then I immediately called my mom right after and went, this was a mistake, I didn't mean to do this. And I remember my mom driving home from work in high speed because I had said I had taken so many pills that she was nervous that I wouldn't be there when she got home. For me, it stemmed from family trauma. I was dealing with depression and anxiety and issues that I was having online. A lot of body image issues. I was dealing with strangers online that were not being the kindest to me. That was kind of the catalyst for it all.
I have been a child and adolescent psychiatrist practicing for almost 18 years. And over the years, the children are experiencing more depression, struggling with more mental health disorders, and 1 out of 2 children are diagnosed with psychiatric disorders.
Middle and high school students, in my experience, suffer the most from depression and anxiety.
The landscape of school has changed. Many students have experienced large portions of time where they haven't been in school. More children and youth have increasing thoughts and feelings of suicide, and so those statistics are trending in the wrong direction, unfortunately.
Here in the Lehigh Valley, 20% of youth report suicidal thoughts.
Puberty is a really difficult time for adolescents due to the changes that are going on in their lives as well as with their bodies. So when you put this on top of a possibly pre-existing mental illness, it makes things a whole lot worse.
When I was 16, 17, I started getting really bad anxiety. It would start before school. I would have the worst stomach pain. I would feel very nauseous. I would just panic, oh, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to be around these people. And then during my life, the things that happened, it kind of put me into a darker hole and leading into depression. There's times where your mind is blank, just react. And I will admit I've done that before. And then when I was done reacting, I've regretted what I've done. But that's a part of the illness, the mental health part of it.
Factors that increase a teen's risk for suicide include mental health issues, self-harm behaviors, a family history of suicide, and the most important risk factor is a history of past suicide behavior or thoughts.
Although difficult to hear, 22% of high school students consider suicide.
I had always had anxiety from the age of 13. When I was 17, my mom got diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer. It was just my mom and I living together. From that point on, that was when I think things took a turn for the worse. Had a severe depressive episode and it was related. Then I started to feel better a little bit and then she passed. Never where I thought I would have been 3 years ago. Never. I inherited the house. I took a full-time job. We had figured out the finances a little more. I knew I wasn't going to be out of my house. That was a major stressor. And just getting the paperwork settled, the processes and the certificates, it took months. I kind of just kept telling myself, okay, just work through it. It'll be fine, da-da-da-da-da. And I would be around people all day. And then I would come home to an empty house at 18 years old. And the silence was crushing.
High school is hard. It is. I'm not gonna lie, kids are mean. They're mean. And it's gotten worse as social media and technology has upgraded. That's where a lot of teens get their depression from because they're feeling insecure about themselves, someone's saying something about them online. It's affecting everybody and how they think of themselves.
As pediatricians, we are very worried about the effects of social media on teen mental health.
All youth have exposure to social media, so we can get in front of it by having an open and honest conversation in a developmentally appropriate way with our children. Social media can be a wonderful outlet because it gives people connection, but it can also be very dangerous because a lot of misinformation is shared on social media.
I was 13 when it first started, yeah. Just online, random people sparking conversations and me just kind of going along with it. I understand maybe you want to branch out and find new friends. Even though a lot of people seem like they may be nice, they may seem like someone that could be your new best friend, but you really don't know who they are.
Seen since the year 2000 about double the amount of kids who are attempting suicide. And when you look at what's changed during that time, the internet.
Teenagers and young adults are suggestible. If they are spending more time in solitary activities, that does not help them to grow, that does not facilitate and foster any social activities, and that tends to be a problem.
If I'm gonna go on social media and look at, oh, well, this girl is a lot skinnier, or she looks a lot more full than I do, or she doesn't have scars like I do, that's not okay.
When I go online and I see people my age living the life that I wanted, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, it's dreadful sometimes.
Students who spend more than 3 hours per day on the internet are more than twice as likely to experience significant mental health issues.
These facts are deeply concerning, as a recent survey of teens has shown that the average time a teen spends on social media is above 3.5 hours a day.
Approximately a quarter of adolescents think that social media has a negative impact on people their age.
Sean was more of a shy girl. She loved playing the saxophone and playing softball, and she made some friends that way. Sean's depression and anxiety started around middle school. That's when the bullying had started, which I did not know about. She hid it from me. She would come home and I could tell she was kind of sad. I did get her some counseling. That helped a lot. Sean graduated from high school and she wanted to be a scientist. So she was enrolled in Penn State. In her first year, I had found out that she was skipping a lot of classes. She dropped out. Her social anxiety started getting worse. It later developed into agoraphobia where she wouldn't even want to leave the house. She was getting more and more distant with us and isolating herself from us and her friends. I saw her briefly in the morning. She left the house, which I thought she was going to the store. She came back and she went to her room. It was about 4:30 p.m. that day. I thought, it was kind of strange I didn't hear from her or see her, so I knocked on her door. There was no answer. I opened the door and I found her on the floor. I wasn't sure what happened to her, if she hit her head. Immediately started doing CPR after I found no pulse. I called 911. I could not bring her back. It wasn't until later that we found chemicals in her room that she took to poison herself with, and her telephone on her bed. My first feeling when I opened up her phone was just, it was pure evil to me. It was so soul-crushing and disgusting and just such a dark, dark feeling that I had. In a chat room on a website that she was participating in, she was getting encouragement and details on how to poison herself. There were messages on there where she said she was taking it and she was live blogging it. People were wishing her success and good luck. Her last words to anyone on this earth were, "I'm effing terrified." My daughter, Sean Chateau, died on May 22nd, 2019. She died by suicide with the help of an assisted suicide website.
Roughly 2/3 of teens are sometimes or often exposed to hate language content on social media.
This can include bullying, homophobia, racism, all with negative content. Adolescents who are cyberbullied were more likely to experience suicidality.
LGBTQ youth are higher risk for depression and suicide.
90% of LGBTQ youth have experienced a mental health challenge in the last year, and 75% have considered suicide.
A lot of people are very hostile to the LGBTQ community. It's always good to make sure that you have someone that is on your side and supports you 100%, whether you're both part of the LGBTQ community or the other person maybe just supports it. You shouldn't have to change yourself to please other people because you are the main character in your own story.
One quality of teens is that they can be impulsive, and impulsivity is a chronic and an acute risk factor for same-day suicide.
Meaning that they have something stressful happen that day, such as an argument with their family, a breakup, stressful day at school, something of that sort, and they immediately have a suicide attempt that day.
My brother was impulsive and liked to experiment and just did dumb stuff just to try it out. We don't believe that he wanted to die. We just believe that it was his impulsiveness.
If you are a parent, a caregiver, a teacher, a school counselor, and a child comes to you, actively listen, make eye contact, nod your head, ask questions if you need clarity. Try to listen without judging. Once that person has said everything that they're prepared to say, you may want to ask again some questions for clarification. Just so I make sure I understand you correctly, you mentioned this, can I ask you a clarifying question about that? And then assure them that you are going to stay with them and get them support.
I like doing something along with the person that I'm talking to because just sitting down and talking to them sometimes makes me feel weird. So if we're like doing like a puzzle or something and then I talk to them about it, that normally makes me feel more open because my mind is doing something else while also talking about it.
I would say try to be as specific as you can. Just saying like, oh, are you okay? Like it's not specific enough because that's very easy to deflect. If you were to have asked me at the time like a specific question like, are you okay to be by yourself tonight? Do you have something to eat? That was what resonated more. It always felt as though it was my fault, and I felt that I deserved
the pain that I was giving myself. After I had been so depressed for so long, I had stopped really feeling any emotion. I wasn't really happy, I wasn't sad, I was pretty much just numb. So I was cutting to feel something.
Yeah, I just feel like everyone thinks that they're alone, and it's like, that's not the case. So
If you can find one person that cares, that is all that you need to get through it, because that one person can help connect you to more people.
If you want to be heard, I would go to someone who you know is a good figure in your life that you look up to and that's going to sit down and listen to you so they could advise you, because there is so much more time in your life to enjoy.
As parents, it is important for us to be aware of resources that are available locally, in your community, and nationally for teens to seek out help in moments of crisis.
The school has many different options to help support students, whether it's finding resources for therapy, family-based counselor. We just need to know the issues, and then we are happy to help.
United Way is doing a lot to promote youth mental health. We have behavioral health specialists in United Way community schools. These behavioral health specialists meet students where they are and deliver services in a safe and trusted environment. We are working with Lehigh County to provide grants to support 20 Avidum clubs in high schools across our region.
Avidum is a student-led group. The goal is to have an open, safe place to discuss mental health while also supporting our peers who may feel like they're alone.
I created a new chapter of Avidum for individuals that are struggling. It's a safe space for everybody.
I actually host a mental health 5K every year in September. It's called Miles for Mental Health.
In addition to resources that are available in the school building, there are a variety of other resources that schools can use, such as the Suicide Prevention Resource Center, the National Association of School Psychologists, and the Centers for Disease Control have toolkits available for schools to support mental health initiatives.
You'd rather have a mad friend than a dead friend. So if you're worried about your friend, speak up. They might be mad at you, but they'll thank you later.
it's really important to remember that like you're only like young once, and like you only experience like high school one time, and like even though like it's super duper hard sometimes and it's like something that kind of sucks, like you still have to be thankful.
Most of the time, teenagers are focusing on one thing that happened, one rough day. When they look around them, they're going to realize that they have friends who care, teachers who care, and especially families who care. Often when I'm talking to teenagers who have attempted suicide, they say that prior to their attempt, they hadn't thought about the impact it would have on their families, how it would destroy their family, how their parents would never get over the loss. There are people who would miss them if they were gone. So I encourage you, if you're struggling with that, look around you, look at the people who love you.
They knew I was down the hall. She mentioned it in her chat. And the only thing they said to her was that they were worried that if I had heard, that I would call for help. No one told her to go talk to me. I feel like all that it took was someone just to mention, just go talk to your mom. She could be here today.
Reassuring teens that they are not alone is so important. Pointing out places where they can find help, like their doctor, a therapist, a school counselor, is key in these moments of crisis.
For youth who are experiencing or struggling with their mental health, it's important to seek out a safe and trusted adult. Talk to a parent, talk to a coach, talk to someone in your school like a teacher or your school counselor. They can help connect you with services, and they want to know.
If one of your friends is struggling, again, please reach out to help.
The 988 crisis line is a lifeline that is available 24/7 for parents or teens to talk to someone that can support you through a crisis moment through phone or text.
Immediately, as soon as you get the thought, reach out to somebody. Don't wait. Do not wait. That's going to make everything worse.
At Lehigh Valley Health Network, Riley Children's Hospital, along with other organizations, offer support through resources and treatment.
So these range from outpatient services, such as outpatient therapy. From there, we have the partial hospitalization program. It offers therapy, group therapy, psychiatric services as well for kids who are struggling a bit more and need more than your outpatient level of care. And then we also have our inpatient adolescent behavioral health unit, where kids stay in the hospital, ages 12 to 18 on our unit, who are able to participate in a variety of different kinds of therapy. We meet the kids every day, a psychiatrist does, as well as a case manager. So we really have a comprehensive level of services here.
We love teens. We know they are challenging and we know they have challenges, but that is what we're here for. We're here to help.
Whether it's once a week, every 2 weeks, having a place that you can go to just spill out what you need to talk about that maybe you're nervous about telling a friend or a parent is really, really good, because when you keep it bottled inside, there's going to come a point that you just end up exploding.
I think sometimes it's better to maybe reach out to someone you don't know on a personal level.
Me and my family started therapy immediately after it happened. I actually didn't believe in therapy before because I didn't think talking about it actually helped, but it's actually helped me a lot.
It did take me a while, but in a couple years I did realize it's okay and it does get easier. And I think finding the right help is what makes it easier, because you finally have an answer of maybe why you feel like this, or an answer to how to make you not feel like that anymore.
When someone comes to you and they want to talk about their mental health, just especially for parents, keep that open-mindedness with their children.
I'm grateful that my mom has been my rock, so I'm glad that I've been able to be here to continue making memories with my mom.
We all have a role to play in helping teens in crisis.
The number one piece of advice that I have for parents is to create a relationship where your child feels safe and comfortable coming to talk to you. That is a huge barrier for students to be able to go to their parents and talk. Sometimes the parents kind of have to start that conversation, but they might not know to start the conversation if they don't have a close and safe relationship with their child.
That goes a long way, because if there are moments when they are feeling down, even one supportive person can stop them from doing anything detrimental. So it's very important. It's like an anchor to get them out of this storm.
If I'm too nervous to actually tell my mom, then I write it down and I put it in a note. This way my mom can find it the next morning, and then she also has time to absorb it and know how she wants to go about talking to me about it.
When you're looking at an adolescent or a child with a mental health struggle, it's important as a parent to realize that this isn't your fault. And this isn't something that parents can necessarily prevent or see coming. If your kid is struggling, get them help. Don't ignore it. This is nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be embarrassed of. If your child had diabetes, you would take them to get medication, you would take them to get treatment. If your child has depression and they're suicidal, please take them for the same medical care.
When I had finally told my mom what had been going on, I remember her breaking down crying because she was so upset at herself for not noticing it. A lot of people aren't educated enough on the other end of how to notice signs of mental health and how to ask those people if they need help. It's so important.
Just talk to them, talk to them, talk to them. Bringing awareness and educating is just so important, and that's what I really try to do with Sean's story. Basically, in Pennsylvania, assisting or aiding in suicide was like a slap on the wrist. A few days after she died, I actually was up at the Capitol, and I reached out to a bunch of lawmakers and held a meeting. They came up with Sean's Law, House Bill 184. This law cracks down on anyone that aids or assists in suicide, especially anyone that's under the age of 18 or has an intellectual disability, such as autism or social anxiety, just like Sean.
We know that high self-esteem protects against suicide.
Kids with high self-esteem and high self-worth are a lot less likely to attempt suicide than those who are struggling with their self-esteem.
We can do this by helping them recognize their strengths and empowering to set goals for the future.
I look in the mirror and I have to tell myself, I'm like, you have been through it, man. You have been through it, and this is you can do this. You know what I mean? You've gotten this far, and you didn't even think you could make it this far, but you did. I know it's getting better, so maybe one day I won't feel like this anymore. Yeah.
Somebody actually said that it's gonna be one day at a time, and I remember sitting and looking at a clock and 20 minutes had passed, and I'm like, it's gonna be 1 hour at a time. When I still felt dread about making a long-term vision, I didn't push myself. I made a vision for the next week. And now I feel like 2 months flew by, and I'm just so involved and I'm so busy and I'm working towards things, and I think that helped a lot to get the time moving again.
My piece of advice is to not feel ashamed about who you are and what you want in life and what you're trying to succeed and your goals, and to just the haters just ignore them and just know deep down who you are and just go from there.
Don't let kids get to you. That's the biggest thing. Don't let people get in your head. If you are confident about yourself, then you shouldn't let anybody tear you down.
As a pediatrician that sees teens every day, I know that teens can get better.
I'm finally in a healthy household where I can wake up in the morning with a smile on my face. I have never, ever been happier in my entire life.
I'm majoring in business management, and then the plan is to transfer out to a 4-year, in person, not online, full-time.
As a community, it's important that we work together to create a safety net for people who are having those thoughts and feelings.
That's what this is all about. By recognizing and talking to them and creating a safer environment for them to come to you.
I'm doing really well right now. I'll reach 2 years self-harm free. I want to go to college and I do want to be a lawyer.
We must break the stigma about youth mental health.
Right now, I'm definitely on a better path than I was 2 or 3 years ago.
People need to know that they matter, their lives matter, and the world is a better place with them in it.
We can and we need to do better as a society and as parents and lawmakers. I will never rest until I see this website one day be shut down forever.
Teachers, parents, friends, family members, we are all part of a community that teens need to feel the support from.
I'm in a place where I feel stronger now.
It does get better.
Because eventually the light comes. You will love yourself for who you truly are.
I want to be there for people who are also struggling, because it's I get it. And not everyone understands that, because everyone has different perspectives, because everyone has different experiences.
Everyone comes from a different place. You have a different start. You have a different finish.
Everyone has a different story to tell.
It takes an entire community to answer the call from teens to give me shelter.